Hey, what's up guys? This is Kyle and I'm here with Wyatt. He's going to be giving us a video on batteries.
In this video, we're going to be talking about the different types of batteries, different types of chargers, and pretty much everything you need to know about batteries. Talking about the main types of batteries that we use in Airsoft. First is NIM, nickel metal hydride. Next is NiCad, nickel cadmium. And then finally, your favorite, Lipo, lithium polymer. First battery type is nickel cadmium. I don't have one with me right now, but I got one in my SEMA AK and they work pretty good. There's a couple things you have to remember though to make sure you keep them running. First is when you first charge it, the very first time, you have to make sure you charge it fully. And then when you use it, make sure either run it down completely or discharge it and then you can charge it again. If you don't do these things, it can affect its long-term performance. Our next batteries are nickel metal hydride. These come in the majority of stock guns and are also the majority of batteries sold on Airsoft websites. This one came from a Classic Army / Game Face MP5. This one came from a King Arms M4. These batteries are pretty universal because they can be charged at any level, to any level, and pretty much be undamaged, but they do have some major drawbacks, like not performing that well in the cold, and they're also overcharged and broken easily. The third type of battery, and probably the best, though it is a little bit more of an investment, it's Lipo Batteries. These are the Nanotech brand. I got these from hobbyking.com. These are a lot different than the nickel cadmium and nickel metal hydride because they have different cell sizes. These have 3.7 cell sizes. The other ones have 1.2 cells. So this is a 2-cell battery, 7.4 volts. These are 3-cell batteries, 11.1 volts. There are different things you have to consider when buying a Lipo battery. The first is its voltage, of course. 11.1 will be significantly faster than a 9.6 volt NIM equivalent, and a 7.4 is about the same. Only use a 14.8 volt in very extreme builds like DSGs, but if you're doing that, you should probably already know about Lipos. Second thing to consider when buying Lipos is their milliamp rating. That's the same pretty much across the board as NIMs. This one is 2.65 amps, which means 2,650 milliamps. So it translates to about roughly 1 shot per milliamp. So batteries like this have plenty. I usually go down to 1,000 milliamps at minimum. The third thing you have to consider when buying Lipo batteries is their C rating. Right here you can see it says 25 to 50 C. This one says 35 to 70 C. You only want to really look at the first number, which is 25 on this one. That's the C rating. It's pretty much an amp discharge, kind of hard to explain, but it depending on the battery and its capacity, it can drastically change how it performs. The reason you don't want to look at the second number is because that's mainly for use in RC planes and things like that, where it's called the burst rating. So when you do like throttle punches on RC planes, things like that, that kicks in, but Airsoft doesn't really do that kind of thing. So you just want to look at the first number. Voltage is pretty much how fast your battery goes. This one is 11.1 volts. This is a Lipo. And this one is only 8.4, which is what comes in most stock guns. That's pretty much how fast it goes, but there are other factors. The capacity can affect it on both types of batteries, and on Lipos the C rating can affect the speed as well. The thing a lot of you are probably wondering is what kind of batteries you will need, or chargers you'll need for your batteries. Most guns come with a charger like this. It's just a wall charger, so you plug it in and then you calculate its discharge, or its like output rate compared to your battery, and see how many hours you need to charge it. The next level up is like a smart charger or a simple LiPo charger. And on this one, all you do is either plug in the balance cord right here on LiPos, or you just plug in the battery on a normal nickel metal hydride battery, and that'll probably, those usually tell you when it's done charging, or they charge them faster. The third type is a computerized charger, and these ones can charge both types of batteries, LiPos and nickel metal hydrides. They have multiple settings: LiPo, NIM, NiCad, PB, which I think is lead acid. And then you can also save data for specific batteries you have. You can also change what voltage you want. This is the amp speed rating. So when you charge it, since this one's 2.2, 2,200 milliamps, you want to bring it down to a charge rate of, I think that means 1C. So it means that if this is 2.2 right here and this is 2.2, it'll take 1 hour to charge. And then you also want to change it to your proper voltage, which on these computerized chargers you can go pretty high. And then on this type of charger and with LiPos, all you have to do is normally just plug your balance plug in here and it'll charge it. But with this one, you also want to plug in on your Deans or your Tamiya or whatever you have, as well as the balance plug on the side. Computerized charger, there's a few things you'll want to have, especially if you're using nicer LiPos, which can be damaged by malfunctions from a charger like this, which usually doesn't happen, but since these are a little cheaper, you just really get what you pay for. First, you'll need a power supply. This one was like $13. It has a little fan, which is optional, keeps it cool. Next, you'll need the charger itself. This was $25, and it has lots of settings. You can charge any battery on it. And then you'll want something like this, or whatever you want really, but it just needs to be able to have something that goes from the wires here to your battery. So this one can do pretty much almost all types of RC and Airsoft applications. You have Traxxas, Deans, this little red one, micro Tamiya, large Tamiya, and small Tamiya, which are all of them. And a package like this together would cost probably $40-ish, depending on what parts you get and just how much money you want to spend. 4 main types of connectors you'll want, or there are at least, for Airsoft. The most common is small Tamiya that comes in stock guns and batteries. Next most common is large Tamiya, which is just a bigger version really. Next most common is Deans, which most people upgrade if you're into that kind of stuff, upgrade to, and they also come on some G&P guns, I think. And the least common, but probably the best of the 4, is XT60s, which I don't have with me right now, but they're little yellow guys, kind of similar to Deans, and they have even less resistance than Deans. You'll want Deans if you have a LiPo battery, because if you do a long full auto burst and you have like a support gun or something, it will literally melt these and like fuse them together, so you can't use them, and it'll also get extremely hot. The reasons for upgrading them is obviously that, and also Tamiya connectors are really just a bottleneck. It's like if you have a water bottle and you poke a hole in the cap with a needle, that's like a Tamiya, but if you took off the cap, that would be like a Deans or an XT60. If you have a LiPo battery that's above 7.4 volts or above 20C, that's about the average, you'll want a device called a MOSFET installed in your gun. This redirects the main power of the battery directly to your motor and not through your trigger contacts. If it did go through the trigger contacts like the usual mechanical switch, it would over time cause lots of arcing, carbon buildup, and melt your contacts, which increases electrical resistance and can just lead to your gun breaking. They are about $20 to $120. depending on how advanced you want to get. They can have lots of different functions, from simply protecting your trigger contacts to doing all sorts of burst modes, pre-cocking, and active braking. A lot of people worry about the safety of their Lipo batteries, and that's what deters them. They think it'll catch on fire like the old lithium-ion batteries in laptops, but Lipo batteries are a lot safer than those, and it's just how you handle them and how you treat them and use them. If I were to plug a Lipo into this for a long time, it would not like it, and it would probably break or even catch fire. A lot of people use Lipo pouches, which are pretty much fireproof bags that, so if your Lipo catches on fire, your house doesn't catch on fire. But with my computerized charger and using it correctly, my battery has never even gotten hot, and that's mainly due to the lessened internal resistance of Lipo batteries. That's just how they chemically work, and they're designed to run cool. The aspect of safety with Lipos is pretty simple. You just have to make sure you don't damage them, puncture them, or dunk them in water, really. If you don't do that, I think you'll be fine. These ones have, so far, I've had this one for over a year, still works great. It's never gotten hot, gotten bloated. It's just how you take care of them is the biggest part of safety. Where I buy my Lipos is hobbyking.com. A Lipo like this on an Airsoft website would probably cost about $40. I got this for $17 on Hobby King, which is a pretty good deal. You just have to make sure you buy from their US warehouse if you live in the United States, or you'll be waiting 3 months from shipping from China. And we're pretty much done. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments. Any comments, put them in the comments. And that's it.